Aeneas Williams for enshrinement into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, Lawrence Williams.
I'll just take a moment to soak this all in. The moment to be here, and I would start out by telling you this: how in the world you go from walking on your junior year, a week before the season starts, your junior year at the Southern University. That's right, Ohio State. It's the Southern University. There's so many people that I could thank: teammates, coaches, mentors. There'll be some I'll call, but some I just want to right now up front say thank you so much to every teammate in Arizona, every teammate in St. Louis. I could not and wouldn't be here without you. But as I start this journey, and I don't want to sound morbid or anything like that, I want to tell you something. This is an intentional journey. And I am number 287, and because my name is the last name Williams, I am the last one in my induction class. But I also want to say thank you to the 32 owners, Roger Goodell, DeMaurice Smith, the Players Association, and here's why: because tough decisions have to be made that are unpopular, but the success and the promotion and the enjoyment of this game with the fans is because of the important decisions that are made that allow us to be here and celebrate with you, the fans, and all of these great Hall of Famers that I get an opportunity to sit up here with. I got two statements if you don't remember anything I say. Two statements if you don't remember anything else I say. Begin with the end in mind and die empty. Begin with the end in mind and die empty. So let me tell you about this journey. It all starts at home. And I wouldn't be and could not be without the foundation. See, I've heard a lot of speeches, I've listened to them, believe me. But I want to tell you, it starts with Lawrence and Lillian Williams in New Orleans, Louisiana. And Mom and Dad, I need you all to stand up. My dad is up here as a presenter. My mother is seated there. Now, these Hall of Famers and all that I stand on their shoulders, they've all been voting on who's going to cry. Now, you've noticed that two of the guys, my first two, haven't cried. Now, I'm gonna cry. I'm giving you up front. I'm giving you notice. I think it was General Schwarzkopf in an interview with Barbara Walters when he started crying during the interview, and Barbara Walters said, "A big general like you, are you going to cry?" General Schwarzkopf said, "I'm afraid of a man that won't cry." To the dais with the induction, being in induction class with the first punter. I've been seeing all these guys that lift their legs for a living around Canton, Ray Guy. Also to be in induction class with three from historical black colleges: Michael Strahan, Texas Southern; Claude Humphreys, Tennessee State; and that's right, yours truly, the Southern University. Now let me begin to give thanks where thanks is due. You see, I never had to look outside my home for role models. My two older brothers, Malcolm Williams, Achilles Williams, stand to your feet, brothers. Malcolm's debonair, president of his high school class, about 5'7", 5'8", but one of the toughest linebackers you ever want to see. Achilles, my role model, 18 months older than I was. I really modeled my life after Achilles. Following his example, and I'll tell you a little bit about that later. But I wanted to personally and publicly thank you guys for being my role models and allowing me to see, because more is caught than taught. Thank you guys, you may be seated. To the Phoenix, Arizona Cardinals. That's right, all these Giants, Buffalo fans. You see, it was in New York when I found out I was #1, when I stepped outside and I came out from warm-up and I stepped onto the stadium, and a whole section in the Giant Stadium, a whole section stood up and told me I was #1 with the middle finger. So thank you for letting me know I'm #1, Giant Stadium. Michael, to Mr. B, your dad, Larry Wilson, who's also here on this stage with me as the general manager with the Arizona Cardinals, Phoenix Cardinals at the time. You and the family, thank you guys so much. 59th pick in the 3rd round, thank you, thank you. Arizona Cardinals, baby, that's right. Then for my family, they're all here. Friends are here from New Orleans. See, I got two. I want the #2 to stand in your mind. Here's #2. I am the second from New Orleans, Louisiana. That's right, 504. The Who Dat Nation. Marshall Falk was the first. Aeneas Williams the second. And what we had in common is both of us sold popcorn, peanuts, and Coke in the Superdome. So I say to any New Orleanian, any young kid that want to get to the Hall of Fame, you better go to the Superdome and become a vendor and get some of this magic of this thing that God has blessed us with. It's called hard work. Thank you, Marshall. #2, I'm the second to be inducted into the NFL Hall of Fame. The first is Mel Blount, one of the biggest corners that I admired for a long time at Southern University. For my teammates and all those that came from New Orleans, I honor you guys. There's some special people from my church that I get to stand up, the Spirit Church, with flashlights every Sunday and get to inspire them. Thank you. And the St. Louis Rams, who traded for me, the late Georgia Frontiere, Mr. Stan Kroenke, Kevin Demoff, and the entire Rams family, Coach Mike Martz, Coach Lovie Smith, my defensive coordinator. Thank you guys so much. Begin with the end in mind. How does this all start? As I said, I walked on a week before the season started my junior year in college. But it was at Harrell Park in New Orleans, Louisiana, my teammates, Coach Mims, who made Harrell Park, that's in Holly Grove, Pigeon Town. It's in an area that there's a whole lot go around, all around, danger outside the park. But Coach Kenneth Mims allowed it to be a safe haven, and it was at Harrell Park where I learned how to tackle and see what you hit. It was at Harrell Park where I started, and I wanted to address, because I've been hearing a whole lot of parents, and even our beloved president, who I love and pray for, said that if he had boys, he doesn't know if he'll let them play football. But I want to say the game of football, I started when I was 4 years old. And there are some things I learned about the game of football that I wouldn't change for the world. And yes, there are some inherent dangers to playing football, but there are some distasteful elements in every assignment or every job that anybody tries to do. So here we go, begin with the end in mind. I've already written my obituary. Don't get scared. If I would ask you, where can you find the most talent? Don't tell me Fort Knox. Don't tell me money. Don't tell me a house. I'll tell you where we can find the most wealth. It's in a cemetery. Because most people go to the grave full instead of empty. You see, I was on Southern University's campus, freshman and sophomore year. And if you had told me, Aeneas, you have the potential to be one of the best cornerbacks, I'm within 24 guys to be inducted into the Hall of Fame as a defensive back, I would have thought you're crazy and hit you with the right hand. But ladies and gentlemen, I grew up in church. The reason I didn't walk on is because I had a good and awesome role model, my brother Achilles. Achilles is a numbers guy. Man, you give Achilles a calculator and a pad, he'll sit at a desk 12 hours. They call accountants bean counters. So all I did was graduate in May and immediately wasn't thinking about football, wasn't highly recruited. All I wanted to do is get to Southern University where my father's alum, and Achilles was already, I was gonna have an apartment in June as a freshman with the junior. He and I were gonna have an apartment. Achilles majored in accounting, so did I. The fraternity, Kappa Alpha Psi, Achilles joined, I joined. Achilles got me joining the Student Government Association. I don't even like politics. He majored in accounting, so did I. Now, here was the unique thing. My dad never pushed sports as a way out. See, Dad gave the boys, the three boys, I'm the youngest of three growing up in New Orleans. He gave me some alternatives growing up. He said, son, if you all ever have to choose between me and the police, choose the police. And here's the other thing I want to tell you. See, I don't want to stand up here and let you know and tell you and make you believe it was all easy. It's not. See, in Arizona, we didn't win a whole lot of games. But here's what I know. See, Dallas, Mr. Jerry Jones, Michael Irvin, you guys wouldn't have that beautiful stadium if we hadn't upset you in 1998, where I had to cover Michael Irvin. If he went to the restroom, I had to go flush it. But Michael, thank you, because I wouldn't be here without you, without Jerry, and without as many awesome receivers that I had to face. But let me tell you something. Now, why do I say that? Dallas, the Cowboys got to thank me for the stadium, because you guys remember the old stadium had the hole in the roof, and they used to say that's God's team. After we upset them, I had 2 interceptions against Troy Aikman. They told me it took 10 years for them to plan and build the current stadium. So I kind of did the math, because I talked to the architects who built the stadium, and they told me it took about 10 years. I did the math. I said, that's about the time we upset them, where Jerry, Mr. Jones, figured out God must not be with us anymore. Pun intended. Much love, Jerry. Much love. Much love. Had to do something for all these Cowboys. Begin with the end in mind. I got to wrap this up. Begin with the end in mind. Hey, let me tell you first thing. Begin with the end in mind. People say, what's it like to be up here? I'm going to tell you what it's like. I learned, write down what's in your heart. See, growing up, I grew up in church, but I never gave my life to Christ. I didn't understand how God related to everyday life. Man, when I was going, I thought church was a religious deal. You go sin for 6 days, and then on the 7th day, empty your sin bucket and go do it again. But I'm going to tell you something. I was on pace to graduate with my degree in accounting in 3 years, and I don't even like numbers. My brother Achilles graduated with his degree in accounting in 3.5 years. He called me back. He said, little brother, slow down. You'll be working the rest of your life. And ladies and gentlemen, I tell you, it was at that time, over the 2 years, freshman and sophomore year, my Uncle William and a guy named Michael Lindsay, who was on Southern University's track team. Southern University football team who also played with me in high school. He would always, and my uncle would always say, they call me Nikki in New Orleans. So if I hear Nikki, I know you're from New Orleans. And they would say, why don't you play football? And I'm going to tell you why I didn't play football, because I didn't know how God talked to you. I would hear people say, God talked to me. I stand next to him. I didn't hear anything. I'll tell you how you know. A week before the season started, my junior year in college, it was different, unlike the freshman, sophomore year. It's September. You football guys know when the weather changes. It goes from dead hot summer to the fall. We all know, because it's getting time right now. We itching right now on this stage. We know it's getting ready to be football season. And you fans know it's getting ready to be football season. So how do you know? Some people say you got to be a Christian to know God talks to you. No! God talking to us all the time. How you think I got on defense? Troy Escano, when I was playing 95-pound ball, and we decided I was a big, bad running back, I emulated Larry Zonka. And when I'm running and we decided we hadn't lost a game, and we decided we big and bad, we're going to play the 110-pound guys, and Troy Escano was at the 110-pound guys, I came through the hole. Troy hit me so hard. I was on the ground wondering when I'm going to catch my next breath. It was at that time God spoke to me. You know what he said? It got to be better hitting people than getting hit. So I'm telling you, pay attention to the signs that God gives you, all right? So back to this story. All of a sudden, when it comes down to God talking, my heart changed a week before the season started. That's what happened. All of a sudden, it entered into my heart to walk on the football team a week before the season starts. Made no sense. And the first sensible thing I did was didn't tell my parents. I'm already on my parents' dime. I'm getting ready to finish, and I didn't tell my homeboys who were from New Orleans. So I walked on, and I ended up starting by the 5th game. Play one more season, all-conference cornerback. And then after the Bayou Classic, that's right, Bayou Classic, all you Grambling State people, I don't even call your name. It's Southern University. God's favorite color is blue. It was after the Bayou Classic, after my 2nd year playing, that I read in the newspaper, one of my coaches said, Aeneas Williams is a good player, but I don't think he'll ever go pro, because at best he runs a 4.6 40. And ladies and gentlemen, this is when I learned the difference between facts and truth. See, the facts were I did run a 4.6 40. The truth is I found my teammate Brian Thomas. And Brian, if you're here, if you could stand up, Brian was the fastest guy on Southern University's track team and the fastest guy on Southern's football team. He was a wide receiver. He was out Usain Bolt, 6'3", and Brian wrote on his practice pants leg, siren of speed, and speed kills. And when I couldn't cover him, I line up 10 yards off of Brian, he'd run right by me. And Brian had this thing, when he run by, he'd make this noise. So when I read that, I didn't get bitter. Some people build their whole life to prove people wrong. The goal is not to prove people wrong. The goal is to reach your potential. So the first thing I did was went to Brian Thomas. Why? Because mentors are critical. You got to find credible others. I didn't go to the offensive line. I went to Brian. I went to Brian after we had upset Graham. I said, Brian, can you help me get faster? Brian Thomas looked me in the eyes like I'm looking at these Hall of Famers. He says, Aeneas, you can run a 4.3 40. It baffled my mind, because all my life I've been a long distance guy. They say you can't coach speed. Either you got it or you don't. I say, Brian, what do I do? He says, Aeneas, walk on the track team. So now I've graduated. I'm in graduate school. Now I'm going into January, the final spring, and then I'm going to finish my final season while in graduate school in the fall. I said, Brian, what we do? He said, get next to me, do everything, because more is caught than taught. I said, Brian, and we running, we working out, and all of a sudden, we're finished running, and Brian is walking like we hadn't worked out, and I'm on the ground, and my legs are telling me, Aeneas, you can keep this up, but we through. Ladies and gentlemen, by April of that spring, the scouts came, and I ran a 4.3 40. I was a number 2 rated cornerback in all the country. As we go to the pros, thank you every coach. The late Jim Johnson, my first defensive back coach. Great coach. Thank you to every agent, every equipment guy, every personnel person that don't sometimes get the recognition. Thank you. And as I close, guys, Rob Ryan. Rob is here somewhere. Saints defensive coordinator. See, Rob, and I didn't miss my wife. See, Ray Guy is only fitting because all these punters are here. Tracy, stand up, lady. I didn't forget you. I just had you in the script. And I wanted to include what a lot of guys I think need to hear. I had Rob Ryan and Tracy stand up because the first time I made All-Pro was going into my 4th year. I had just become a restricted free agent. Buddy Ryan, Rob's dad, had become the head coach. And I had said to my wife, we were at Champaign, Illinois, and I was serving my wife. She was getting her master's, her MBA at the University of Illinois. And I told my wife when Buddy got the job, I said, I'm not going back to Arizona. And you would think wives would be like, oh, okay. But my wife wouldn't stop there. How many of you know wives ask questions? Some guys call that nagging, but I'm going to tell you guys, that's part of your vision. She said, why? I said, the truth is, I'm afraid. See, I used to deal with fear. I was afraid because Buddy Ryan put his cornerbacks on the island. Cornerbacks by itself. See, much love to Revis Island, but it started with Aeneas Island. And Rob Ryan, the first time I went back, and he got the job as a defensive back coach, he put his arms around me. He says, Aeneas, you can lead this league in interception because I saw you do it in college. Thank you, Coach Rob. That was the first year I made All-Pro and Pro Bowl. Thank you. Tracy, I can't thank you enough. 21 years. Thank you, lady. Thank you so much. I love you. We just got back from Houston because 3 of my children have been competing in USA Nationals Junior Olympics. All you guys stand. Sanea, Tirza, Lazarus, and Cheyenne. That's who I'm serving now. That's the team I'm coaching. Thank you. Love you guys. So as we say, die empty. I can't close this story without saying Gil and Maryland Byrd. When I wrote down I wanted to be one of the best cornerbacks in whoever played the game, I wrote it down when I was a second-year player. I started calling up. Some of these guys were already in the Hall of Fame. Michael Haynes. I paid my own money to go see Kenny Houston. I talked to Ronnie Lott because where you want to go somewhere, you got to find credible others who already been there. And then I befriended Gil Byrd, who was an all-pro corner with the San Diego Chargers after a game. I said, Mr. Byrd, can you help me learn to play the cornerback position? I got his phone number after a game. My wife and I flew out to San Diego, and Gil Byrd taught me how to play the cornerback position. But I didn't just set a goal to be the best cornerback and one of the best to ever play the game. I set a goal to be one of the best husbands and one of the best men that I could be. Gil and Maryland Byrd modeled not only how to be a great corner, but Gil and Maryland, thank you from the bottom of our hearts, from Tracy and I, on helping us know what it's like to be married in the NFL and raise your children, loving and serving your children. Love you guys so much. Begin with the end in mind. Here's what I want to do. We're in a stadium, and I've talked for over 20 minutes. We're going to go into a commercial, but I want to go in a commercial with a shout because we're in a stadium. Here's what I want on my left side. When I say shout, I want everybody over here to shout, begin with the end in mind. Everybody on this side, I want you to shout, die empty. See, Hall of Famers, we die empty. See, we left it on the field. I don't want to play anymore. To the current players, it's your turn. Your career right now is like wet cement. My cement is already dry, so are ours. We put our handprints in it. It's your turn. It's wet. You do what you're supposed to do because God has given you a blessing. My one life assignment is to help people go to the grave empty. So this side and Hall of Famers, when I say go to the grave empty, so this side, begin with the end in mind. Hall of Famers and this side, die empty. Y'all ready? I say, are you ready? This side, begin with the end in mind. Say it. Hall of Famers and this side, I can't hear you. Hall of Famers, I can't hear you. I can't hear you. God bless you guys. Love you. Thank you.